Hello, good evening. My name is Malik Abbasdab. Welcome to PM Express, and my sincere apologies for the late start of tonight's program. But he has waged a relentless campaign to have his name included in the presidential ballot. He won. Now, the presidential candidate of the Progressive People's Party today took his case to GBC's encounter with the presidential candidate. He wants to wage another war to become president of Ghana. This is the third time he's engaged in this campaign. Is Papa Kwesi Nduom's dream to become president finally going to be realized after the December elections? Let's hear what he had to say today when he took his chance at GBC's event.
Thank you for this opportunity, and to the viewers and listeners throughout the country. First of all, I want to tell everybody who I am. My name is Papa Kwesi Nduom, born in Elmina, and specifically Tetere Kesim in Elmina. And my grandparents are from Gomoa Degu. They are from Elmina. Part of them lived in Takwa, part of them even lived in Nigeria. Some of them came from Senya Breku, and my parents were both of them were primary school teachers. And I am where I am today by the grace of God and by hard work, because Elmina is where I'm from. Teaching was the profession of my parents. And in Elmina, most of us are fishermen, some are farmers, and so on and so forth. And so I believe I symbolize the ordinary Ghanaian and their aspirations to become something. And also it is important to me to tell people I respect other religions, but I am a Christian. My life has been guided by my faith, public service, and indeed by family values, because I believe that when your home life is good, then you have the confidence and you have the moral right to go out there and tell the world and do everything that needs to be done as a human being. And I know that many Ghanaians believe that it is God who determines who becomes president, and therefore, before I go any further, I wish to pray to God Almighty, the maker of heaven and earth, to touch the hearts and minds of all Ghanaians, give them life, give them good health. And as I continue to pray, as a Catholic, I pray to the Blessed Virgin Mary and all the angels and saints to make it possible for the people of Ghana to vote for me, Papa Kwesi Nduom, on December 7, 2016, to become the next president of the Republic of Ghana. And I'm pleased to have this opportunity given to me by the GBC and all of its collaborators, because I think this is important. It is important, and I want to use the time to let people know specifically what they will gain by voting into office, a PPP administration led by me, Papa Kwesi Nduom, and also by voting for our parliamentary candidates. And my presentation is based on our policy document, which was launched on Saturday, July 16th, and also on the 1992 Constitution. Let me say to everybody clearly that the party that I am leading into December 7th election, this Progressive People's Party, is a forward-looking, inclusive political party that is dedicated to making our nation great and strong, and all of its people prosperous. And we believe in Ghana first, everyone else second. I want to repeat that. Ghana first, everyone second. And let me be clear to Ghanaians. We are a people made poor by bad governance practices, and a leadership that is prepared to accept less than what our tremendous human and natural resources should give us. And to be direct, Ghanaians have wasted their votes on leadership that have not utilized all of our resources, all of our hopes and aspirations, and everything it is that we have. And therefore, the votes have been wasted on leadership that has disappointed the people deserve to be, because Ghana deserves better than where we are today. And thankfully, the people have the opportunity this year to vote for inclusiveness, to vote for peace, to vote for unity, to vote for incorruptible leadership, and to vote for competence that is based on practical experience by voting the Progressive People's Party and Papa Kwesi Nduom into office, which will bring many, many, many blessings to our society. Now, let me be very, very specific. Our focus is unique in Ghanaian politics. This is what we bring and what we are going to bring to Ghanaians. Our focus is very different. It is simply job creation based on competent, incorruptible leadership. Some may say job creation. We are the only ones that are saying job creation based on competent, incorruptible leadership, and no political party, not the NDC, not the MPP, has been so bold, so direct to state it that way. And there are reasons for it. And as we state in our policy document, the PPP seeks the opportunity to implement an efficient agenda for accelerated development through incorruptible leadership, education, healthcare, and jobs. Those are the three, if you want to call it pillars, three pillars that we stand on. And so let me give you some highlights of our non-negotiable policies. The first one is we will ensure that we reform our constitution, because there are some things that are wrong there. We don't change them, Ghana won't go anywhere. We will reform to make sure we vote.
You're welcome back. You just heard the opening remarks of the presidential candidate of the PPP, Dr. Papa Kwesi Nduom. Joining me in the studio are two gentlemen from the PPP to help us dissect the presentation made by Dr. Nduom today. To my immediate left is Andrew Deroy. He is the head of research at PPP. And then Dennis Ofosu-Appiah, right? He's head of legal. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Let me start with Andrew. A lot of the things that he was talking about were based on research, and that falls on your laps. The bigger problem that afflicts our politics is a lot of the time you do research, and this happens even at our universities. When it comes to implementing what we have found out, that becomes a problem. What's going to be different with the PPP?
Okay, first of all, good evening to your viewers, and sorry for being late.
You were at GBC.
We were at GBC, and we had to really rush in here to make sure we continue with this program. We are grateful for this opportunity. But before I even go ahead, today is a very sad day for the Progressive People's Party and also for the people of Ghana, because we've lost a great woman.
Yes, Ivaloko.
Ivaloko. And we are paying tribute to her.
She was your parliamentary candidate for Klote College.
And also our former vice presidential candidate.
Yes.
It's a great woman that we've lost, and we are saddened by her death. All the same, let's come to the issue. Today, Dr. Nduom has had a very good encounter with the people of Ghana to decide where their vote should be on the 7th. To us as a party, we believe that this is a great man. This is a man with all the practical ideas to deal with the issues that are confronting the nation Ghana. It is our hope that those who have listened to him and those who are yet to hear and those who have heard of Dr. Nduom before will know that he is a huge asset that we cannot toy with. And it's an opportunity for us as Ghanaians to make sure that he becomes president come January 7th, 2017.
Then there are those who say this is a successful businessman. Why doesn't he just stick to what he knows how to do best, managing business?
I wanted to come to your question.
Yeah, I just wanted to take his preliminary comments and I'll come back
to
to
business. And I think that's what we here, Africa, most bankrupt nations around the world do not appreciate. Running a nation is the biggest company you can run. This is a man who has done his businesses. There are about 60 successful companies in this country, in the United States, United Kingdom, in most parts of Africa. He has managed all this successfully. And he says that I want to manage the biggest asset in my country, which is the nation. What have I given to my people? He has employed so many people, but we still have millions of Ghanaians who are not employed, like you and I. He says that let me manage the greatest asset so that I can employ millions of my people. So that what I've given to thousands, I can give it to millions. What I've done for my sister companies, I can do it to the greatest company I can manage it in my land, which is Ghana. So that the outside world will see that you and I, you see, he is a Ghanaian, a black man. He goes to the United States and purchases a bank there. He wants this country to produce many people like him, or better than him, so that they can go around the world and also purchase assets and make you and I proud and get more of our people inspired. You say he should limit himself to managing sister companies when the greatest company is still waiting for him to manage.
Droy, you are a researcher. Is there any empirical evidence anywhere that suggests that successful business people turn out to be successful politicians?
First of all, I don't want to even zoom my research into that area that successful business people turn out to be successful presidents.
I'm just picking up from what he was saying. He was talking about this man hasn't been successful, and that's not in doubt. There's no debate about that. And my question to you is there evidence that we can say because he's successful at running companies and his business, he can be successful at running Ghana as a business?
There's largely some truism in that, because it is whatever we do in our private and individual corners that we translate out there. You cannot be different from who you are. Can you be different from Malik? You are Malik. What you do, the presentation that you do here is only you. So if Dr. Nduom is saying that, look, on my own, as a business person, this is what I've been able to create. This is what I've been doing all my life. And there's evidence to that effect. What makes you think that he cannot do that which he is practicing? Why would you want to believe in somebody like President Mahama, who has never managed just a kiosk before? You believe in him. What about the person who is practically doing it? Who should you believe the more? So Dr. Nduom is just a practical example of a doer, not a talker. And he's been saying this all this while, that look, this country, we don't need parrots, people who can just rattle things, and when it comes to the practicality, they cannot do it. You'll be amazed the things that he talks about. He can start with something that you will not think about. In the next few moments, that thing becomes very big and people get into it and they work. From the research perspective, you ask a question and he answered that one, that in Ghana, we have the CSI out there, okay, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research.
Yes.
Look at the name. If you don't have industry, if your industries are collapsed, they have been sold, they are not working, that entity there becomes almost useless. Okay, he's saying that unless we empower our own people, the private sector, the public sector, for industry to begin to rise, we cannot make good use of these people sitting in a CSIR. We have CSIR, which has made a lot of research, especially into cocoa-related products.
Yes. Even maize and other food crops.
Very fantastic one. But where is the next step? We need somebody, we need a leadership that will push people into that direction to go and pick some of those products and begin to experiment with them and make sure that we grow our industry or begin to have bigger industries.
It doesn't have to be the government. It has to be individuals.
You see, what you have forgotten is that you and I, as we sit here, in one way or the other, we are being controlled by the state. The state can just shut your TV station down by just telling you this law is what we are applying. There should be leadership, okay? Whether private sector is going to flourish or not, leadership, especially the government, has to lead the way. So if the government is stifling business, stifling progress of business activities, then who should we blame? Look, I wanted to, but I registered a business. And my friend here, Dennis, was telling me that, Deroy, you haven't seen anything yet. Before you even start your operation, some tax has been slapped on you when you have not even sold one product. Okay? And all these things are emerging from the state institutions. So you need somebody who is a reformist, like Dr. Nduom, who has been there in the private sector and in the public sector, to be able to come and put things in the right perspective for us to see the kind of development that we want.
Dennis, do we have any problems with our legal regime to justify the picture that Deroy is painting?
You see, you have to appreciate that if somebody is a businessman, is simply a manager, is simply a good investor. Look at what you have here. We are just working from GBC. GBC, where we're sitting is like the things you have here, they have about 3-4 times of it. And my friend was asking, oh, so they're able to get all this. When I go to places, I think you have even better ones. I go to places, I don't see those. And I say, yes, that is state machine. You need to appreciate that. Chum, your boss is Chum, right?
Yes, Chrissy Chum.
Despite and many others. And you can even include Dr. Nduom and all that. How many of them can tell you that within 8 years, they have had access to $30 billion? How many of them?
They can have it.
So you have to appreciate that the greatest asset anywhere in this world is still the state. All these businessmen you hear of them are dependent on you and I to survive. It's getting contracts from the state. So if you don't have the right person managing your resources, $30 billion, do you know what that amount is? You can, in fact, bring the entire country down. All the buildings, everything, bring them down. And that 30 billion can erect everything back. That's the kind of money that your government has had over the last eight years. And you can't point to much. You say, where did the money go? That is the asset. Dr. Nduom is telling you, and he's kind, he's telling you, if I can manage a few $1 million to put all that you see around me, then you give me half of 30 billion. I can create another Ghana for you. And you say we shouldn't do that? You see, Dr. Nkrumah has been the only president maybe you and I will be proud of. And maybe the second person is Mr. Kufuor. If you look at these two people, before they had access to state, the executive authority, they had been managers before. People talk about Dr. Kwame Nkrumah as if he did nothing. He had managed organizations in the United States through the United Kingdom. So he appreciated what management is about. And I said to you that a businessman is just a manager and a good investor. And you saw what Dr. Nkrumah did. If you look at Kufuor, and that's how I like to see that, he had been an investor all his life before he had access to the state power and state resources. And within his time, he managed to put Ghana where this government has brought it down. So we are saying, don't be looking around and saying anything and just moving around. Just ask yourself, if people like John Mahama can run this nation and run it down like what we have, do you want to still put them there?
That is
when
not
you have people,
this is not a rundown country.
It's not a rundown. I am telling you that it's a rundown. And you see, the entire democracy, I don't know what you think about it. I'm saying that my money, $30 billion, that if you you bring the entire country down. 30 billion can erect it.
Can rebuild it.
Rebuild it. That's what $30 billion is about. And one particular president has had access to that money. What can you point to that looks like 1% of Ghana that he has been able to do?
We have hospitals,
so please,
we have modern hospitals, we have modern roads, we have modern interchanges. One was just commissioned.
The Kwame Nkrumah one. The Kwame Nkrumah cycle one. I'm telling you that you are talking about 30 billion that can build the entire nation. It's just like you giving your wife 1,000 Ghana cedis for your visitors to pay soup. Nice. And have a feast. And you come home and there's one something hiding somewhere in the soup. And you say, because he has done that, that's 1,000 Ghana cedis. Think about that. And we are telling you that, you see, Dr. Nduom can use just few $1 million to do all that you see around you, I'm sure in your mind's eye. You are proud of it. Can you imagine what you would do with $30 billion? So we are not joking. And this country, and you and I, who have the opportunity to understand and appreciate things, must lead our nation to be great and strong and say, we are not going to experiment anymore. Not the kind of John Mohammeds. We deserve better. Hand the nation to people like Dr. Nduom. And he has offered himself. I want to see. And he prayed today. He told the entire nation that it's a prayer. He's a Christian. And I'm sure our Muslim friends have understanding of that prayer. That he who knows what's right and doesn't do it, evil can come to them.
Deroy, what was the high point of today's presentation for you?
Okay. The high points are these. He stressed on 3 key areas: education, jobs, health. And then all these things find expression in incorruptible leadership. Now, in education...
Which is what all the presidential candidates claim anyway.
Which one are you talking about?
The current government has pointed to steps that they have taken to fight corruption and combat corruption and minimize it and deal with it.
Supreme Court has ordered them to take 51 million Ghana cedis from the one they handed our money to and shared.
We'll come to that legal aspect.
Have they brought the money back? You see, this is a government that appoints Attorney General. And their constitution says that children born on this land must have free compulsory education. They won't do it. When other people are managing the legal system, so we can get our kids to school and make sure that they don't become like some of us, become better people. The government will send its Attorney General to come to the Supreme Court and fight that. And say, keep the children in the streets because you don't have money. This is a government, when the Supreme Court has ordered them to take our stolen money, they will go back to the Supreme Court and say, we are not interested.
So, but they are taking steps
to
retrieve that money.
The Supreme Court has ordered. Please, when I came here, you call me counsel.
Yes, of course I know.
Yeah. So give me a little honor.
Of course I know.
To tell you
I'm not
that the Supreme Court has ordered.
I'm just pointing out.
No, I'm saying that they have been ordered. It's not like go and do some other thing you can do. It says go and do A. And they come back to the Supreme Court and say that we are impotent. We discontinue the matter. And you are telling me that they have shown what?
Well, I'm simply saying that. I'm simply saying
dealing with the corruption.
When the Supreme Court gave the orders in July 2014, the Attorney General started taking steps to retrieve the money. They tried to attach Woyomi's properties.
So they want additional 8 years to fight corruption. We are saying, and that is why our leader, you're listening to him, you watched him. He says that, you see, you and I cannot sit around the table, take decisions, pass monies around, corruption camps, and I say, I'm going to put you before the criminal justice system. I won't do that. I'm unlikely to do that. So our legal arrangement and our constitution, where the prosecutory powers have been handed to a government of the state.
You're talking about the Attorney General
and that
and
government
the
is
Minister of
the same person. You see, the greatest suspect on our land in terms of all criminality and the rest of it, is the government. So if the greatest person who can do all the crime, commit all the crime, you hand him over the power to prosecute. You are saying that the thief man should prosecute himself. It's not reasonable. So what are we going to do? We're going to change the legal regime.
Yes.
And make sure that the government will have its legal advisor, Minister of Justice, and the nation will have its prosecutor.
I followed this. I'll come back to
you. That is the only way that if you take the money around the cabinet table, you can be sure
I'll come
that
back
you
to
go inside.
I'll come back to you to deal with
to South Africa.
decoupling.
The president, the sitting president, is in
Jacob
deep
Zuma.
waters. Why?
Yes,
Because
I know that he was ordered to pay back
prosecutor.
some money he took
Exactly.
to, I think, about $20
And because of
million
that,
to
because that for the
renovate his
first time,
house.
a huge political party such as ANC is threatening to lose power.
The ANC.
Yes, you
Gerard.
were talking about the highlight, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, and I mentioned 3 key areas.
Yes, education, health, and then jobs. Yeah.
And then our education policy is different from all the other political parties. We are saying that education should start from kindergarten, and at least the basics should start from kindergarten and will end at the senior high school. And it should be compulsory, it should be free, and it should be continuous. And we are emphasizing on the compulsory and even the continuous nature. Look, we have an educational system where about 5 million children start from kindergarten. And before they finish the SHS, we are left with just about 270 or 250.
By the wayside.
Yes. So those people who have not been accounted for, those children who have not been accounted for by the state, especially the present government, we are going to account for every child, including the physically challenged and all those with disabilities. Why? Because we know that education is one of the greatest assets that we can bequeath to everybody. You and I are here largely because of the education that we've had. Okay, why can't we render better one to the young ones who will take the baton? So we are saying that the education should be compulsory, it should be free, and it should be continuous. And indeed, we are going to have community police that will deal with all those children who will be found on the street and they are not going to school. Why? Because in the Constitution, it is saying that children under 18 years, they have no business other than being in school. Okay? So whereby the Constitution gives us all manner of liberties, when it comes to minors, their liberties are restricted, especially in terms of education. Let me finish. The education is just not going to start from kindergarten. We are going to provide standardized kind of education where you go, you have toilet facilities, we have libraries, we have sports facilities, and so on. Look, dignities of our children are lost right from the childhood. Go to Nkwantanai here in Medina. It was difficult. I taught there was no toilet facility. In this country, we find children defecating all over, and we see that as something that we should be proud of. Okay, we don't know that the dignity of the child is lost by way of allowing them to defecate in an environment, and then in the process we even fall sick along the way. So education is a priority, which Dr. Nduom highlighted.
Do you hold that thought for me? So that when we come back, I want to take a short break. When we come back, we will deal with jobs, how the PPP intends to create jobs, and how to deal with health, which is a big problem facing the country. You're watching PM Express. We'll be back. You're welcome back. You're watching PM Express, and we are discussing the hope of the PPP's presidential candidate, Dr. Papa Kwesi Nduom. And Dira, before we went on the break, you were telling us about the 3 themes in today's presentation: jobs, health, education. You dealt with education comprehensively. Let's look at job creation, which is a big problem facing this country. We know that Dr. Nduom has companies that employs people. In practical terms, how is he going to replicate the success in the private sector in the public sector? Because we know that the public sector tend to have a lot of inefficiencies.
Okay, I think you have answered the question partly. That in practical terms, you are using the practical term because he's a practical man. He has demonstrated how jobs are created. And he's passionate about that because, you see, the dignity of life is expressed in jobs. today, if they take your job from you, you see that you either have to go and beg for money, you either have to rely on people. And many of the youth, sometimes when you are driving past on the street and so on, you see people either playing draft, very energetic people. We don't want to create that chaos. We want to make sure that every able Ghanaian should have decent job to do.
Isn't it easier said than done?
Why? The person is already doing it. And we are telling you, he said that he is going to use the purchasing power of the state to create thousands of jobs. He cited one example as Rara.
The Rara
rice. And you can imagine the number of jobs or employment that is given to the people in Rara. Not less than 3,000 people over there. He also cited the Asin Breku one that is also under some form of construction. That one is also going to give a lot of employment to people. Why? Why should we have an arable land in this country and then still import rice more than $1.2 billion? Can't we create the opportunity for people here? That is what he has started. Go to the Adan here. Salt alone, salt can create millions of jobs, thousands of jobs for our people. We are not doing it. How difficult is it for us to convert those water there in the Songo Lagoon into salt and then get a lot of salt for Nigeria and for petrochemical industries? It is because we don't have a focused leadership. It is because we don't have competent leadership. That is why we are suffering. He is saying that if we give him the opportunity, all those CSIR people who came there, they have already prepared the background, the background work. They have something that we can rely on to create a number of jobs. We are just not listening to them, and we are not just implementing what is already there. So as for job, it is the easiest for Dr. Nduom because that is what he is known for. That is why he is called Ejumawura, right? Ejumawura is prepared to create the jobs that Ghanaians need by using the purchasing power of the state. And here, let me explain it again. Look, when we had to go and procure furniture for our parliamentarians here, where did you go?
We went to China.
We are creating millions of jobs for the Chinese.
The minority leader today, at the time explained that we couldn't get wood in Ghana to produce a uniform.
The wood, which in China, do they have their forest? Is the forest in China better than the forest in Ghana? In fact, all the best woods, they are imported from Africa. Go to Pegamo here, just Pegamo. Here at Melcombe. Today I went there and I was surprised at the things that Pegamo produces here in Ghana. And they are better, they are of the best quality that anybody can imagine.
Why should we create jobs for other people? In a minute, if you can tackle health for me so that I'll go to
health.
Dennis.
Simple. Prevention is better than cure. We have malaria. What brings about malaria? It's just influx of mosquitoes. What should we do? Spray them, get the environment neat, also ensure that all those people that we have trained as community health nurses, they go about education, clean the environment. Why should cleaning of environment be difficult to do?
We are doing National Sanitation Day. We are doing...
It is something that we as Progressive People's Party will not tolerate. You see, the government is abdicating its duty. People pay taxes, okay? People have entrusted...
But they have to take responsibility as
yes,
well.
But if we have to take responsibility, the best way is not what you are doing that, oh, now, wait, every month in your community, go there and do this. When people even don't have toilet facilities in their homes, and it is the responsibility of the government to enforce the laws. It is just about enforcement. It is not about abdicating your responsibility as a government.
Dennis, I guess the biggest problem that plagues Dr. Nduom, and I think it plagued him when he ran on the CPP's ticket in 2008. It plagued him when he ran it on the PPP's ticket in 2012. People have confidence in the man. They believe he can do the job. They don't think he can win.
We are going to win.
How is PPP
we are going to
fighting
win.
that?
The people, we are not fighting anything.
No, I'm saying, how are you fighting the perception that people won't vote for him because they don't believe that he can garner sufficient votes to win?
Is not right.
You are assuming that people don't change.
The people are saying that these NDC people, they must go. They've chopped our $30 billion. They have nothing to show. You point to some 1 million, 3 million thing. They are not interested. They have said to the MPP people, we won't bring you back to come and continue what you did in the last 8 years. These two parties want them out. If you go out there, you get Ghanaians who will tell you that we need alternative, a credible one to this. They have found one. They have found one with Dr. Nduom. You see, we are saying...
We don't have too much time left. In 30 seconds, you have to wind up.
We are saying that with Dr. Nduom, you will not be sitting here and saying that jobs are problems. The Ghanaian people know that. That the only man who can give them jobs is Dr. Papa Kwesi Nduom. And they are going to vote for them. You see, they are going to vote for him. You see, it needed to take some time for the Ghanaian people
and
to
the time has been taken.
They have.
Thank you very much.
Now agreed to that, appreciate it, and we are going to win this time.
Okay, thank you. Dennis Ofusapia is head of legal. Deroy is head of research. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
My name is Malik Abbas Dabu. God willing, we will bring you another exciting edition of PM Express. Until then, bye-bye.